right, guys, we're going to open up our very first talk show between Jared and I. This is Jared Davis, and I'm Rick Honecker.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, first and foremost, before we get started, that our opinions and our views on what we're going to talk about has no reflection on any organization either one of us are affiliated with. We're going to open this up first today with pro football. Tell us about today's.
Going straight to it, are we?
Yeah, let's talk about today's games, Jared.
I'll tell you. Let me go ahead and give one quick shout out. How about those Bears? I'll tell you. We only have 3 wins this season, Rick, but 3 quality opponents. Knocking down the Carolina Panthers today, 17-3. Yeah, we don't have much offense to it, but my God, that defense just showing up week after week. I mean, hey, you only need to do what it takes to win.
That's exactly right. And, you know, what I liked about today is, you know this well, that I am not the biggest Cam Newton fan in the world. Mm-hmm. However, 2 pick sixes on good old Cam, and they're picking Cam to be in the Super Bowl. Some people are. We're just going to try to sit back and to see what happens. But there's still a lot of football left to go. We're in what now, week 7?
Week 7, yes.
So I like Chicago's defense today. I like the way they played. It's just they got to find some offense. They've got Jordan Howard. They've got
Tariq
Cohen. They've got Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
They've got some guys right there that they can really plug along, but they just got to find some wide receivers. I mean, Kevin White, who we rejoiced.
Oh my God! I was happy as could be a Bears fan and have WVU standout Kevin White going to my team. I said, man, this right here, this is heaven sent.
Anytime a WVU player goes to the pros, what's a big deal? I mean, I can remember back when Owen Schmidt got drafted. We can remember back when Bruce Irvin was drafted.
Todd Siren,
Vanderjack, but what's our other guy's name? Oh, Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, who's now got his own talk show.
Oh, he's a jokester.
Yeah.
He's more of a comedian, I guess.
So with that being said, we're going to move up to the Monday night game. Now, this game to me, being an NFC East guy, I've got a lot of interest in this game because for the first time, in very few times, which you can even agree with me on this, I'm going to actually pull for the Redskins, and here's why. Because
whoa.
The reason why is Philly's on a roll right now, and I've got to have Washington knock Philly down a notch.
I wasn't even thinking about it being, division rivals, so you got to root for one of the two. You can't hope that both lose. A tie doesn't really help you in this situation. You need Philly to go ahead and go down.
Well, and you can echo what I'm saying with this. I wanted Carson Wentz, and I remember coming up here and talking to you sometimes. I was like, this is the kid I really like. He's a Big Ben type quarterback. He's big, he's strong, he throws a heck of a deep ball.
Right.
Heck of a deep ball.
And he spreads it out. He spreads it out to all those different receivers, and I mean.
Well, you got Aguilar, you've got Torrey Smith, you've got
Alshon Jeffries, who doesn't catch the ball.
You've got their tight end, you've got a pretty good running back by committee there, with LeGarrette Blount and
Wendell Smallwood. If he can get healthy, you got to get him healthy to get him out there on the field. That's another pass-catching weapon.
Absolutely.
That Wentz can have.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going with the Redskins tomorrow night, and I'm going to post this on my Facebook tomorrow that I want the Redskins, as bad as I'd like both teams, to be in a tie. Right. A tie is still better than a loss. So if the Cowboys would happen to falter, which they've been known to do.
Y'all close?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah, okay.
Now, I'm not sure exactly. I don't really want to give a game pick for this week for the Monday Night Football game. I will at the end here after I say what I'm going to say. But I will say this to all the sports fans that are looking towards the Vegas way. I think it'll be a very high-scoring affair. Not exactly sure which team to root for, but I would say I'll go ahead and root for the underdog here, the Redskins, just because of the fact that everyone keeps talking about Philly's a team to beat now in the NFC because of Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers going down, which Hundley once again didn't look so hot today.
There's a really scary team in NFC, and they're in the North, and their name is the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
they've got.
they have. This is my problem with the Vikings. Okay, and I do watch the North a lot more than some of the other divisions because of the Bears and stuff like that. My problem with Minnesota is, they're in this quarterback conundrum that I don't really get. Don't rush Bradford back too early. Now they have Bridgewater back practicing and everything.
And he's supposed to be able to go back to the active roster, I think, within the next 10 days.
Right.
And he was on the sideline today and looked like he was high-fiving and celebrating with
what
these
happens
guys.
when he actually comes back, Rick, and then you start that quarterback controversy, and you got a three-way quarterback controversy. That sometimes takes away from the team's ability to focus on the matter at hand, and that's the football games instead of who's their quarterback.
I concur.
So I mean that's my issue there. And you're really gonna be surprised whenever I say this. Why did everyone stop talking about the Dallas Cowboys? I mean that's my thing. Is how in the world did Philly? How are they the cream of the crop when you've got the NFC regular season champions last year sitting at what 4-2?
Yeah.
I mean, so how are they not the cream of the crop out of the NFC?
And they've got a key game tonight with New England.
Right.
And we sat in this very spot last year, and they were down 28-3. And my exact words were, "Do not count Tom Brady out of the game or Bill Belichick as long as they've got air in their lungs." And we found that last year.
Oh yes, yeah.
So they got a big game tonight. Atlanta loses tonight. That's going to shake it up more in the NFC.
Oh yeah. Which I mean, my opinion on the Super Bowl loser. No team out there has went back to the Super Bowl after losing the Super Bowl since the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. Did it 3 times in a row.
Right. 4 actually, but they.
They only lost in one.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone always want to bring it. Oh no, they were 4 times in a row. No, they only lost it 3 times in a row and went back. But I mean, that's a dynasty. I mean,
Right.
To me, that's a dynasty.
Oh, absolutely. That'll never be that in the new age of free agency and
Right.
no team, no real player really sticks with a team. There's one, there's a Jason Witten out there that's been with his team for 15 years. Favre was with Green Bay for years, and then he gets traded to New York, and then he gets traded to Minnesota, but he still was not with the same team. So we don't see that now. Ever since free agency kicked in there in like 93, somewhere in that area. So
Now this is the New England dynasty. I mean, if there was a team that was going to be able to do it, go to 4 Super Bowls in a row, win or lose, you would have thought it would have been Tom Brady and Belichick with New England. I mean, so if they can't do it, I don't see another team, unless some drastic changes or something astronomical happens to where there's going to be another team that we see go to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, win or lose.
And Tom Brady, the year that he blew his knee out, and Matt Castle comes in, they were 10-6 and missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
If memory serves me correct.
Oh yes, yeah.
So
he
and Castle had an amazing year, and then he ain't done squat for anybody since.
No,
that just shows that you could plug
anybody into that system.
anybody in that system. And they're going to do good. Garoppolo steps in last year till he gets hurt. He does a good job. Jacoby Brissett comes in last year, who I drafted, by the way. I drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, and they all laughed at me, him being one. But we always have a little bit of fun. Now let's move on to next week's game. My Cowboys play the Redskins.
That's a big
That's a big game for
especially
both.
if the Eagles or if the Redskins win tomorrow night.
Yes.
That's really big game.
So we'll be looking at that next week for sure. I hope Sean Lee looked a little gimped up today to me. When I did watch him, I don't know if his hamstring was bothering him, if he had a knee issue again, something.
Where's that game at? Is that game at Dallas or is it at Washington?
That I don't know. I didn't do enough research. Chicago plays.
We played New Orleans Saints.
Okay. And
At
New Orleans
at New Orleans.
rolled today. I mean, Green Bay starts out. Hundley takes off. I mean, he's having a heck of a first quarter, and then for 3 quarters, it was a Drew Brees show.
Oh yeah.
I've said this. Do not.
Breeze, I think, might have thrown 2 interceptions maybe in that first quarter,
Yes.
which looked like, oh, shoot, Green Bay's actually going to be able to do it. And then,
So we'll be watching next week, and New Orleans is starting to come on right now. I mean, even though
all right,
they start out with an 0-2.
My pick of the week in NFL football this past week was the Chicago Bears. I know I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so everyone's like, oh, it's just because you're a Bears fan. Well, that's not actually the case here. I told everybody that we would antagonize Cam Newton, as my buddy Rick likes to call him, Scam Newton. I like that. But, no longer Superman, Super Dud, he kind of seems like. They antagonized him the whole game. They caused him to make mistake after mistake, and which helped the Bears go on to a 17-3 win over this top NFC team. Which me and Rick both agree here that Carolina is not a top NFC team. So,
At least not right now. They're not.
Right. They have all the weapons, but I don't think they have the true leader that they once had in a young Cam Newton. I think he has let way too much stardom go to his head, and now he's just a whiny bleep, bleep, bleep. I'll go ahead and say it like that. That way we don't have to
Yeah,
do
we're
it.
trying to keep it clean here. All right, next thing I'm gonna bring up: Marshawn Lynch runs out on the field the other night, and now he's getting suspended. The guy he was taken up for, which was the opposing team, was his cousin. Now, I don't know if he was they're really cousins or not. They got some background. Now, the guy is coming to Marshawn's appeal hearing, I think tomorrow or Tuesday, to testify on Marshawn's behalf. Do you think the 1-game suspension is fitting for him coming out on the field and bumping the official, and me being a former official?
All right, this is the thing.
I understand in the heat of the moment stuff's going to happen.
But this is the thing, okay? The rules in the NFL rule book, just the same as the rules to the whole players kneeling and standing during the national anthem, which we're not going to get into. But, the rules state that you touch an official, regardless of the situation,
Yep.
you're ejected,
Yep.
and you're subject to suspension.
And he goes out and dresses and sits in the crowd as a fan. So he's still there supporting his team. Now, is Marshawn the blow-up guy he was at Seattle? No. Is he the guy he was at Buffalo? No. They only signed him for a 1-year deal. He's not really done a heck of a whole lot this year. I mean, I don't even know if he's even had a 100-yard game.
Oh, he definitely
game
hasn't.
yet.
He had a good game, I think, his first week, and he had like 2 touchdowns. Looked like Marshawn Lynch was going to be, the fantasy stud and the stud for the Raiders. And, that's kind of fallen through a little bit. His counterpart that they shipped to Minnesota actually had a good game today. Latavius Murray. He actually had 138 yards and I think a touchdown. Wasn't used in the passing game, but he did have a good game and a good fantasy game.
Oh, yes. And we'll get to fantasy here in a little bit. We're going into the show with fantasy. Next thing.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
I forgot earlier. As far as my pick of the week for next week, my pick of the week this past week, like I aforementioned, was the Chicago Bears over the Carolina Panthers. I do think that Chicago shows up in New Orleans. We usually have a very good outing with the Saints, but normally that's in Chicago. Problem being, we definitely have to have some kind of offense other than just a ground attack. That defense is going to get tired. It's going to get hurt. But my pick of the week, this coming week, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out on the limb here, which isn't really too far out on the limb. And I think after the Redskins beat Philly, it's going to really put a lot of hype into the game next week with Dallas and Redskins. So my pick of the week, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, thank you. With the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll ask your opinion of this, Randy Gregory, who was a high draft pick for the Dallas Cowboys, can apply for reinstatement in a week.
Wow.
Does Randy Gregory play another down in the NFL?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
I agree.
I think you got to go ahead and give him one more shot. I mean, my God, they were going to give the wide receiver from Cleveland. He actually
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon. He could be reinstated as well. I haven't heard much on that issue, but
I think his is next month too.
Okay, he checked out of the rehab facility that he checked himself into. Hopefully that all went well for him. It's sad to see such talent go to waste, especially whenever it's their own undoing that makes that talent go to waste. So hopefully both of those players get that second chance. Well, I guess with Gordon it's more like his fourth or fifth chance, but hopefully, I mean, he's exciting to watch, and the Browns need all the help they can get. So hopefully both of those players actually get a chance to reestablish themselves in the NFL.
And I'm going to close it out on Randy Gregory so we get to college. Randy Gregory still is not on the roster of the Dallas Cowboys, on the 53-man roster. I want Randy Gregory back because of his talent and the fact that he's wearing the hallowed number 94 from the Cowboys, who was made famous by Charles Haley, who was made famous by DeMarcus Ware, who got the blessing. Gregory got the blessing to wear number 94 from D. Ware. He's a good defensive end where he was in college, but he just can't seem to put his demons behind him once he's a pro.
Right.
So, with that being said, now we're going to move to college. I want Jared's opinion on who is your Heisman favorite right now?
I'll tell you what, and laugh at me if you will. I might laugh with you, but I'm telling you, it's sad that Will Grier from the Mountaineers has really not been much mentioned, probably because of the two losses. But look at those two losses; both of them are 7 points. The TCU, which should have had an offense or a defensive pass interference call that was called an offensive pass interference, which I have no.
He pulled his jersey off the player for WVU, and it was clearly an offensive pass interference.
No, it's clearly defensive pass interference.
I'm sorry.
And they call offensive pass.
I'm staying corrected.
I guess that if you get your fingers caught in somebody's jersey, and almost rips that jersey off, then that's an offensive pass interference.
And the still photo was the jersey pulled out this far.
Yeah. So I guess that's what they're calling offensive pass interference here. Don't wear jerseys that opposing hands can get caught up in.
Yeah. Put some Vaseline or something on, something that'll slick. We're gonna talk about another team.
Well,
here.
hold on, you haven't given me your Heisman.
My Heisman hopeful, and I posted this on Facebook today, was Will Grier.
Oh shoot! I guess I should have been watching Facebook.
Will Grier leads the nation right now in touchdown passes.
I think it's 26.
It's up there. I know that Seals, his number one target, former quarterback, is leading the nation with 15. So you may have to throw Seals in that.
Yeah. Seals is
now a wide receiver getting a Heisman's a big deal, but I'm going to go with Will Grier, and I'll agree with him on this. Now, before this is over with, this show, we will be almost at each other's throats. I will tell you this, but it's all in good fun.
Yes.
But I go with him on Grier. Now, I'm going to move to the next thing.
Hold on, I want to say one more thing. One more thing here. I want to get your opinion on next week. The early line on next week's game with Oklahoma State, which sadly...
Des Bryant, by the way, that's an inside joke for a couple of us.
Oh, man.
Reedy, that's for you, buddy.
So, the opening line for this coming week's game, which sadly got moved to a noon game, whenever WVU Baylor, which, oh, by the way, if nobody stayed tuned in the fourth quarter because of the blowout that was happening, actually, because I was one of those people, I turned it off and thought we won the game and woke up the next day to realize that it actually went down to a 2-point conversion that the defense finally showed up for. And a recovery and onside kick is the only reason why WVU sealed that win that should have been a blowout. I mean, sadly, you have to stay focused no matter what the score of the game is and no matter what the quality of opponent is. Yeah, Baylor was 0-6 and now they're 0-7, but still yet, don't trap a raccoon in the corner, expect it not to come out fighting because it's going to.
Right, and Oklahoma State's a tough team.
We're a 7-point underdog is what the line is as of right now. 7-point underdog in Morgantown. I'll tell you what, if it's a night game, I'd be afraid to be the Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah,
Cowboys.
we know all about our night games at WVU.
I mean, I'd maybe go ahead and go up and get left there.
And for the ones who will get to watch this, I tell them this, and you've heard me say this. You don't know the experience of a Mountaineer game until you go to Milan Puskar Stadium.
Oh yes.
And if it's a night game, it's rowdier, and we all know this. So I like WVU over Oklahoma State. With the Big 12 in mind right now too, Iowa State is one game away from being bowl eligible. That's a big deal for Iowa State.
On their third string quarterback, I believe.
Who we have to play next month in Morgantown.
Which is that's our rivalry game.
Yes, because they're really our closest team to us.
Yeah. It's kind of odd. That's our rivalry game. I mean, I'd much rather still be playing Pitt, as our rivalry.
Boston College, we played Virginia Tech this year.
Which is another team. The beginning of the year, first game of the year, we did not have one of our main receivers, and only lost that game by 7 points.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, WVU actually could be 7-0 right now.
Absolutely. Well, so with that being said, now we're going to move to another team that I think is a big buzzsaw in this nation right now, Penn State. Penn State rolled Michigan last night. Penn State's next big opponent next week in an evening game.
I'll tell you what, they're a worthless nut. That's what
Worthless
they are.
nut. Yeah. Our favorite team in college there's only a few things you'll find out that we agree on. We both agree that we don't like Ohio State.
Yes, yeah.
However.
Yeah, bleep, bleep, the Buckeyes.
Yeah. So Penn State's going to be a scary team, which is going to lead me into this next thing. Alabama, who rolled last night, rolled Tide for our friend Wade and a few other ones, so we'll watch this.
Roll Tide.
I see Penn State being in the playoffs.
Oh, I definitely do.
If Penn State gets past Ohio State this week, it's going to be all out from here with them guys. They're just playing excellent right now.
Oh, great running back,
Barkley,
a great quarterback. I mean,
and say what you want.
Talk about. I'm sorry to interrupt and move to another subject real quick. Did you happen to see how bad the injury was to that great quarterback that USC has?
I think it was an ankle or a knee. I caught the.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. All right, that was my buddy's. I also lost my pick of the week on the Briar card. We are actually out of the Briar Patch Lounge here
in Lewisburg, West Virginia.
Cool
small town, 2011.
Yes, we are actually. That's where we are focused out of here. So just want to give a shout out and thanks to Quality Inn and the Briar Patch Lounge for allowing us to do our show here, and hopefully you guys all follow us and enjoy us. This is our first run, and as it goes along, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of things that we fix. So if you want to give us any feedback whatsoever, let me throw this in real quick on what we can do better, what we can focus on more.
Keep it clean, by the way, please.
Yes,
keep it clean. And eventually we are going to allow you to call in, and we're going to go Facebook Live here in a couple weeks. If this kicks off, you'll be able to call in and speak to Jared or I.
Or both. You can antagonize us.
We're just two sports guys that love sports.
Right.
All right, so let's kick it up here.
All right, so back to USC real quick. So is it a major injury? Is it a minor injury?
I didn't hear today if it was. I checked this morning. I didn't see anything. I seen him go down. I seen the trainers come out on the field. I seen him get up.
But the thing is, the bottom line on it is, I think we have the better quarterback from USC. And he's actually a wide receiver for us. That's David Sills.
Yeah.
Just to throw that out there, he was supposed to go to USC. And we lucked into Will Greer, and my God, what a tandem they are.
Yeah, Greer has been for some guy that comes from Florida, and of course, one of our buddies I always want to talk about Greer's wife, and Will Greer's wife was a former Tampa Bay Buck cheerleader, and she is a nice looking lady.
Oh, yes.
We'll give her that. So we're going to come down in our last 5 minutes here, so we're going to zip through a few things here to finish this up. Lonzo Ball made his debut the other night. He got 3 points. He comes back in his second game. He has 29 points. Is Lonzo Ball for real?
I'll tell you what. You know, as with all those rookies out there, minus one, which actually me and Rick also agree on.
Michael
this.
Jeffrey Jordan,
the
greatest basketball player
of
ever.
all time.
That's a Lakers fan. I'm a Lakers fan. I've been a Lakers fan, so I got to go with Lonzo Ball here.
Yeah.
But
and I'm a Bulls fan. But just like all these other, you know, great rookies, you know, other than Michael Jordan, you're going to have your ups and downs as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
they're a weak team. The Lakers are a weak team.
Yeah.
When Kobe and all the guys started leaving there back a few years back, Kobe was just beat up, and it's just,
You know,
I
that-
love Kobe Bryant, but he's just, they got to get something around him. He
They-
can't just, and if his dad will just stay out of it.
Oh, his dad has to definitely stay out of it. All right, if Lorenzo Ball or whatever, if he doesn't stay out of it, you're going to see nothing but problems here with the Lakers. But I'll tell you what, I think they have a man running that team that will be able to not allow that to happen, and that is Irvin Johnson. Better known as Magic
If
Johnson.
it ain't luck, it's magic. That was my man. I still remember that poster I had of him dunking the ball, which he didn't dunk a lot back then.
Right.
We always talked about him and Larry Bird never dunked a lot, but they did other stuff, played defense,
Oh,
assist,
yeah, they played defense.
three-pointers. Yeah, keyword defense.
Yeah, they wouldn't be allowed to play in today's NBA because you don't have to play defense in today's NBA.
And if you just get hit and you flop over, like our other favorite,
No, the
sarcastically,
blowhard James.
blowhard James.
Yeah.
So next thing up, the World Series starts Tuesday.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping, and you know I'm not a big baseball guy, but yeah, I did get to watch some baseball last year because the Cubs Indians. I was kind of hoping to see another Yankees Dodgers. That didn't happen. The Astros comes in. It's the second time they've ever been to the World Series. Who do you like in the World Series?
Well, I feel horrible now being a sports fan that I am, and did not know. I knew that Houston came in with Verlander and won Game 6 to push it to a Game 7. So I actually feel horrible that I did not realize that Houston actually beat the Yankees, which. Hoorah! I mean, I'm sorry, but I've seen the Yankees way too much, and I was actually getting scared.
But they're
that I
not
was,
the evil empire now. It's like they were actually the fan favorite this year by a lot of people. I mean, they weren't they're not the Bronx Bombers. They're just like a likable, lovable Yankees.
I mean,
now.
I
It's hard
will
to explain.
I will give it up to the judge. Guy was one heck of a hit.
Oh yes, and he made a heck of a catch last night at the wall. I mean, heck of a catch. I mean,
So the guy can play a little bit of defense
yeah,
too.
and you got to play some D. So
I mean,
so
wow.
who do you like?
You know, I mean,
and how many games?
I'm gonna have to go ahead and Houston. As far as I know, they don't have Nolan Ryan anymore.
No, J.R. Richard from back in the day. Greg Biggio.
But hey, but I mean, maybe they don't have Nolan Ryan, but they do have Verlander.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to give them at least 2 games there. But other than that, I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with the Dodgers in 6.
Dodgers in 6. All right,
4-2,
Dodgers in 6. You heard
4-2.
it first here, kids. All right, something I got into last year. We're about ready to wrap this up. Something I got into last year, and it just started, and thanks to him, the reason why I got back in, I can't say got back in it. I never understood hockey, so I started watching hockey. Who do you like in
nice.
hockey right now?
Well, I'll tell you what. I have to go ahead. You know, I'm a Chicago fan. All right, not so much the Cubs, but all the other teams. So I have to go ahead and give a shake up to a couple of my Pittsburgh fanatic fans.
Fans.
Hey, gotta love the Pittsburgh fans because they are hardcore for
Absolutely.
their team. So
Absolutely.
I give much props to that. But first match of the year was Blackhawks and Penguins, and we come out and we won that game 10-1, I believe.
See, I haven't started because football season. I'm a football guy.
But I mean, 10-1. I looked at that and
Well,
I was like,
fan.
I almost saw mediocre football score there, and I'm like, wait, this is hockey, 10-1. Wow. It was either 10-1 or 12-1. I can't recollect
It's
for sure.
It's almost like a slow pitch softball score.
Right. Yeah. But I will say this: you can't ever count the Blackhawks out just because of Taze and Patrick Kane, and they've got good goalies. You can't count the Penguins out. They're the returning champions. But Phoenix, you got to watch out for them. They're the ones who knocked off Chicago last year. And I believe that's who you ended up picking as your, not Phoenix,
Nashville.
Sorry.
I'm a Predators.
Yeah, sorry, I meant
Even
Nashville
though
Predators.
I know somebody's going to say he just took the Predators because they was in the finals. I did.
Hey, it's okay. Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, a lot of
I
people
didn't know
pick-
anything about hockey except for they could fight, and it was legal for them to fight until he hit the ice, and then when he stood up, it had to stop.
Yep, has to stop.
Okay.
And,
So hockey.
and you get to take a 5-minute break for fighting.
And I know power plays when one team's got more players on the ice than the other.
Right.
Yeah. So
and-
I'm learning. He's teaching me with hockey.
And I'll tell you, I mean, here, whenever we get closer to hockey playoffs,
I'll be all about it.
he'll be more into it, and we'll do a breakdown section on the actual rules and all of that for hockey for all you hopeful fans for next season.
And good luck to your teams because I'm still learning.
But so my hockey favorites this year, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that the Blackhawks finally recoup and make it back to Stanley Cup this year. I hope that the Penguins actually go because I'd love to see a rematch of 1992 between the Blackhawks and the Penguins, just because of my friends that are fans of the Penguins and me being a fan. I'm sure that I will see Nashville, or not I will, but the Blackhawks will see Nashville in the playoffs because they're a nasty team.
All right.
Rick, I want to ask you because you're the local sports guru around here.
We got one more sport we got to cover before we hit the local sports.
Oh, okay.
I want to say real quick shout out here to about NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. Jared's not a big NASCAR guy. It just makes him cringe if I do happen to come up here and watch a game, or watch a race rather. Martin Truex, who has came on this year, they're a one-team outfit. They're
Tell
kind
me,
of
did he make a right turn?
No, they didn't. The day was drive forward, turn left, drive forward, turn left.
Because let me tell you, I do know this about NASCAR.
But there's
if you
two
make a
road
right turn, you're going to have a bad day.
Unless you're at a road course. Road courses have 11 to 13 turns.
Oh, okay.
Martin Truex is in the chase. They've got this whole segment with the chase now. I'm not a big fan of that. I miss the old days naturally because I was a NASCAR fan back in the 80s when ESPN would cover maybe 5-10 races. You might catch one on ABC. CBS covered the Daytona 500. Martin Truex wins the race. Jared's not a NASCAR guy, but I'm a Kyle Busch fan. I'm still pulling for Kyle. Kyle made the cut today, so he's still into the playoffs. We're a month out from the big finale at Miami years ago. It was in Atlanta. I was there to see Jeff Gordon's very first Winston Cup in 1995. It was called Winston Cup back then. I'm not plugging Winston right now, by the way. But that's what it was called. So NASCAR. So we'll move to locals now since he's brought that up. So let's talk about local. He asked me about a local thing. So what do you want to know about locals?
I heard that the local football teams aren't up to par this season. But how about you go ahead and tell me what's your outlook so far on the season, and what do they have to look forward to?
East has won one game, and that was on a kick, last second kick, and they beat Preston Counties. They've won one game. Greenbrier West, another team that's near and dear to me too, is 0-7. They have one of their big rivals from their section this Friday at West. They play Fayetteville. Fayetteville's always a good team. I don't know much about Fayetteville this year. I know East travels to Princeton. Princeton got beat by Bluefield earlier this year. Bluefield beat them like 74-7.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
Bluefield plays James Monroe at Bluefield. James Monroe's a good local team here that we've all kind of follow a little bit because they're just the next county over. They've got a big, huge following. I tell everybody, if you want to see high school football in the state of West Virginia, You go to Coulter's Chapel, which is close to Linside, and you watch the James Monroe Mavericks play football, and they can be 10-0, they can be 0-10, and they got a heck of a fan following. They travel well. They're almost like a college team out of Texas. That's who they remind me of.
Let me ask you this: Has the Martinsburg football program been asked to join the NFL yet?
They probably should, because Martinsburg, I can remember back, would be #1 team in the state. The 1 through 16, the one team plays the 16 seed,
Right.
and they would always beat the 16 seed like 50-0,
Right.
54-6. It was some lopsided thing.
Yeah, I mean that right there is a football
Martinsburg,
program in
yes.
this state. I mean Martinsburg, they are the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to win the state championship this year? Well, Martinsburg.
Yeah.
I'd
tough.
I'd love to see some diversity here, but I don't see it happening.
No.
For some reason.
They're always in the top 5. Martinsburg is always up there at the top.
And
Kanawha
they
County
play play teams outside the state so they can get some real competition, and they still beat them.
Absolutely. They go to Maryland. They go to Virginia, Northern Virginia. They probably even play a Pennsylvania team or two. Who knows?
Yes.
But with that being said, we still stand behind the East and West. I know they're down. Both teams are down this year, but they'll be back in a couple years.
I think
Give
we
us
have the women's basketball team to look forward to at
Yeah.
East. I think they're
and the men's or the boys rather, with local NBA all-time Virginia Tech leading scorer Bimbo Coles is now their head coach.
legend here in
Governor
Louisville.
Justice is the ladies or the girls coach. They have an excellent program down there. Greenbrier West boys is a single A school. They've got 2 twins that are about like 6'8" and 1 6'9", and they're
Wow.
underclassmen. I swear,
All right,
when
let
I
me-
see those 2 boys, they grow.
Let me jump in on this just because of you mentioning Bimbo Coles. What do you look forward to his first season as head coach, and how quickly do you see this team being a threat in West Virginia?
I look forward to watching Bimbo as a player locally. I also seen him coach on the middle school level, and his boys was in shape.
Right.
I mean, I can remember a parent telling me one time, their son leaves practice, he comes home, he eats dinner, does his homework, he's in bed by 8:30.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he keeps the program. They've had a winning program down there the past few years.
Right.
With Coach Bradley, they'll have a down year or two, and then I keep wanting to call him Coach Justice, but he's really our governor.
Right.
Governor Justice came in. They had some really good teams. They played some. They actually. I got to see this Oak Hill Academy, and when that came in, I went, Oak Hill. Well, heck, they're out of Fayetteville. No, Fayette
Oak Hill,
County.
Virginia.
Yeah, Oak Hill Academy, and I think their shortest guy was 6'6".
Yeah. They're
And they're
that's
a
where the
prep
cream of
school.
that's where the cream of the crop
Yeah.
college players
Right.
come from.
But to answer that question, I look for them to be a fast defensive team.
Which Bimbo's, that's his
Yeah.
forte is defense.
Yes. So
Back at school
with that
and
being
all that,
said,
but-
I think East is going to be. I don't know how many. I hadn't checked how many underclassmen they've got coming up.
Do you know how this? Let me jump in. I know we're running short on time here. We got a couple more things we got to rattle off, but this was an interesting story. The coach for Georgetown at the time, Thompson, I think.
John Thompson, Big
Thompson.
John.
Yeah. This is what happened. Virginia Tech was actually playing them in basketball, and he saw Bimbo Coles, and he goes up to Bimbo after the game, and he said, "Son," he goes, "I'd like for you to play for the U.S. Olympic team."
Yeah, that was the '88 team.
Right.
They won a bronze medal in Seoul, South Korea.
So I mean, this guy
Yeah,
who
he
is
knows
now the
basketball.
coach of the local high school team, Greenbrier East. He is no slouch,
No.
and he is not going to take BSing around. He's not going to take kids that are not do not have the heart to give it their all.
They'll give it
And
all.
I think that he will be able to judge talent and not be biased based on local prestige of, oh, this kid is so-and-so's child versus talent. And that's the problem you get in smaller schools and stuff, is they want to go ahead and go with, oh, this is so-and-so's kid. He has to be the starter, or she has to be the starter.
And that happens everywhere.
Right.
I mean,
that's what you got to take out, and then you might actually get to save some of these kids' lives. You might actually get to put these guys in the position to better themselves with the talent that God blessed them with.
So good luck to Coach Coles and Greenbrier East and Greenbrier West, boys and girls basketball. I didn't get a chance to plug the girls from West, but they've got several underclassmen coming up this year. They've got, of course, they're in the same section with Summers. They'll eventually have to see Summers County in the sectionals. Summers is always loaded. So with that being said, we're going to shut this down in just a minute. We're going to talk about real quickly fantasy. We got a minute for fantasy. Let's go. Tell them about fantasy for next week, Jared.
All right, my fantasy football outlook this week or next week. I think a must start coming off of a bye week is who I wanted actually Chicago to draft, Deshaun Watson. I mean, this kid's doing outstanding for Houston.
Yeah.
He has come in, and I believe he has 16 touchdowns, one of them being a rushing touchdown, and just blowing it up week after week. You know, yes, some of it's garbage yardage and scores and stuff like that. But, you know, he put up a great game against New England, who has a lousy defense. But the thing is, this kid was a winner at Clemson. All right, he is a leader, and he has a way to motivate his teammates.
Yeah.
So that right there is my pick of the week player to start next week for fantasy football.
All right, my pick of the week, and I drafted this guy, and they kind of made fun of me because they didn't know who he was Kareem Hunt, the running back for Kansas City. You know, injuries.
He had a down week this
Yeah, he had a
week.
down week, but Kareem Hunt's been consistent.
Oh, yeah.
So, and luckily,
Kareem the catch-up Hunt.
yes, we like Kareem Hunt. So that's my pick. So at the end, we're going to end each show with this. We're going to call it our good vibes. Our good vibe for the night, and we're all waiting on this, and it comes on here in about 30 minutes or so, and a show that he got me interested in. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Walking Dead. We're looking forward to the Walking Dead season starting tonight.
And
We
we
know
actually
what-
hopefully it's better than last season.
Yeah, last season's opening show was horrible. We said
the opening one was great.
That's right. You're right. I stand corrected, ladies and gentlemen. who
Sorry
are
about that,
watching
but
this.
I mean, we actually got to see one of the main actor's eyes pop out of his head, which was kind of gruesome. But
We kind of knew it was coming though, because somebody keeps up with the books here.
Right, yeah.
He says that Mr. Bookworm here, but
I mean,
so
they
we're looking
surprised
forward
me.
to we're looking forward to Walking Dead,
So that was Rick's good vibe.
and that's my good vibe for the night, and we're going to do shout outs at the very end, and I'll turn it over to him.
My good vibe for the night is let's make this show work, guys. You know, give us feedback, give us love, give us support, and let's blow it up.
Let's do it. Hey, and we've talked about doing this for 2 or 3 years, and I just finally one day said, I know how we can do this, and he said, how? And I said, we'll make a video, we'll put it on YouTube, then we're going to go live here in a couple weeks. So with that being said, you guys are our first audience of the night. We've kind of went over about 10 minutes or so, but that's why I'm watching my clock here. It's right behind the phone that you can't see. We're here at the Briar Patch Lounge in Lewisburg.
Right.
We're going to end it with the shout out, and I just want to say shout out to all my friends, family, my daughter, my kids at school, and the staff. Just thinking about you guys. Let's have a good week, and we'll see you guys next week. Jared?
All right, my shout out tonight, I actually said it earlier, shout out to Gary Ambler for allowing us to be here at the Briar Patch Lounge. My shout out to Lewisburg. My shout out to all my friends and family at the bar, and my actual family. I love all you guys. You guys keep up the support, keep up the smiles, keep up the happiness, keep up the game.
All right. With that being said, we're going to close this out. We're right here at the 45-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. Thank you.
Later.
See ya.